You need to know your rights where you're working. If you're having trouble in your work environment, you need to know your rights. You need to know what type of values your employer has, what kind of ethics they have. And you need to be able to reach out to somebody. I found in my situation, I was human resources, so the employees reached out to me, but I was answerable to the bosses. And the bosses didn't have good morals or good ethics, but they were also my authority, and I had always been told to respect authority and to listen to them. So when I was told that the laborers and the janitors were just replaceable, it went against a lot of things that I believe, but yet the bosses were telling me this. So I wasn't to listen to their complaints because that was only encouraging them to complain. I wasn't supposed to find solutions. I was just supposed to ignore them. And if they complained too much, find a replacement. When you have that and you add in the toxic workplace, the women in the office that would have their afternoon drinking parties and gossip sessions and find ways to do cruel acts against you pretty much daily, and you have a boss that won't support you. And then there's the other factor. There's the safety advisor, the corporate health and safety. He's supposed to be looking out for the health and safety of the employees. Now, I had gone to him on multiple occasions about the bullying in the workplace, and he had seen it with his own eyes, quite a few occasions. I had already gone to a doctor to see about dealing with the anxiety that I was starting to have going into work. He knew about that. The bosses knew about that. And yet, I contacted him before I went to the emergency room. I thought he was my best friend, and I thought I could trust him. He was the corporate health and safety officer. So I contacted him and said that I couldn't go back into work another day and I was going to go to the hospital. He tried to talk me out of going to the hospital, but I had another safety advisor who was actually acting in my best interest offer to come and take me there if I needed it. So I pulled myself together and I held my head down and found my way to the emergency room. You've got to know who to trust. And when an employee is getting a paycheck from a company, you can't trust anyone in that company. I know you want to. I thought I could. I thought I could trust so many people within that company, and their lives were on the line because their jobs were threatened, and that was their livelihood, and that took precedence over my health and welfare. I had seen that safety officer on multiple occasions rush to the hospital to stop an employee from getting stitches, to convince the employee that they didn't need stitches because they could just use tape, or to convince an employee not to take the medication that the doctor was prescribing because Tylenol would work just as good. The thing was, if they took the prescription, there'd be a blip on their safety record. If they got the stitch, there was a blip on their safety record. And with the competitive environment that these little companies are in the bid process to get the contract with the bigger companies, their safety record has to be clean. So that safety advisor, who's supposed to be looking out for the best interests of their employee, is looking out for the company. So when they rush to your side at the hospital and they try to convince you that the company will offer you all kinds of incentives and help you through a hard time because of an injury you've suffered at work, they don't have your best interests at heart. They have the company's best interests at heart. You've got to realize that. The safety advisor in my case claimed that I hadn't gotten a hold of him before I had gone in. He put false dates on the WCB forms, so it showed that I didn't have any lost time at work. He also submitted a false statement to WCB where he promised me he would be telling them the truth about what was going on in the office, but instead he told the bosses and the WCB that we had been having an affair and he had broke it off with me, and my mental state was just plummeting because he broke off this affair with me. So WCB didn't take any of my bullying statements or my mental health issues seriously because they just thought I was this poor woman that this guy broke up with me and I was just hurt and upset so they wouldn't take anything seriously. They will go to any lengths. That same safety advisor still works for that company. That same safety advisor got a cash bonus for submitting all that stuff. That safety advisor pretended to be my friend for a long time afterwards to make sure that I wouldn't find out about what he had actually done. But see, there's privacy commission and there's labor laws and there's a lot of other resources that you can go to outside of the company to get the help that you need if you're in a bad work environment. So when I found out what had really been going on, it was already too late. My mental state was so poor. I would have believed anything at that time, and I had tried to just walk away from it. The reality of the betrayal of everything that had happened has been very, very hard to take. But it also shows me the lengths that people will go to in order to save that company or to save their job. So if you're struggling in the workplace, don't trust anyone that has a paycheck coming from that company. They are not to be trusted. You have to find the resources outside of the company to get the help that you need. And hopefully you do work for a company that will stand by you and will help you and will make things better and make a better work environment. But chances are they're only looking out for themselves, and you need to look out for yourself as well.